Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Bayou Bets for Monday, June the 19th. I'm Zach Ewing, live from Omaha, outside Charles Schwab Field, as you can see. And with me is Jim Derry on this Monday afternoon. Jim, we're like, 2 hours exactly, I guess, away from LSU-Wake Forest. Big day for the Tigers.
Well, supposedly we're 2 hours away, but the other game, as I saw just a few moments ago, was still in the 8th, so we'll see how that goes. But it should go on time. Should go off on time as you get the tram going past or whatever.
We got a train whistle. We got everything.
You got Jello shots. You got everything.
I was going to walk over to Rocco's and see if we could get some LSU fans taking Jello shots live on the air.
Well, I mean, you should. There are the odds for the Jello
I made
shot.
those up, by the way.
Well, I figured. I'm gonna take the what is that, 2,000 to 1. So I'd have to lay what? I'd have to
lay $200 to win a penny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, it's gonna happen. So
yeah.
LSU to break the record of 18,777. And look, I haven't even looked in a couple days, and I saw that it was at like 9,000. What is that today? Like 13,000?
They're last I saw they were at 12,800 and change. So
pretty good guess. There. Pretty good guess.
Yeah, the only way LSU does not break that record is if they were to lose tonight, lose again tomorrow night, and everybody left town by Wednesday. Even then, they might break it.
Well, let's show the headlines for today, and of course, the headlines. Well, the headlines are LSU and Wake Forest are playing in the College World Series, and that's what we're going to spend about 90% of our show on today. Wyndham Clark stunning the U.S. Open field last night. It was a great emotional night. It wasn't good if you didn't have him as part of your bets, but you had 3 of the top 4, and the one that you didn't have won. That's a bad thing. But that's a whole different story.
Who would that be?
Yeah, I don't know who that might be. The Phoenix Suns swinging a big deal. Bradley Beal headed to Phoenix. Chris Paul headed to the nation's capital ahead of the NBA draft. And the New Orleans Breakers are in the USFL playoffs just like they were last year, playing the same team they played last year that knocked them out, the Birmingham Stallions. They just happened to play in Birmingham. We may bring it up. We're not going to, again, we're going to spend most of our time talking today about LSU. Uncle Big Nick's with us, the greatest marketing ploy. Dude made 140,000 Jello off of Jello shots.
They're charging $5 for Jello shots. After the game on Saturday night, you couldn't get within 100 feet of that place. I mean, and yet people will stand in line for hours to order a couple of probably weak Jello shots for $5 each just to add to the number on the board.
Well, in their defense, though, they only make a lot of money when LSU's in the College World Series, and it's been 6 years. So you got to give them a little bit of a break. It's like their dream. I guarantee you that at Rocco's, they are huge purple and gold fans.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, Ole Miss bought almost 19,000 last year. It's not like they were in the poorhouse.
Don't bring up Ole Miss on this show.
There's LSU's bus, by the way, just rolling by. I think they just dropped them off.
They just dropped them off? They just got out?
They get out around the corner. I'm going to go for a little walk.
All right.
And
walk and talk.
We can
this
walk
is
around
something new on this show. We haven't tried to walk around since on Bayou.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll walk down to Rocco's, and we'll see if we can't get somebody to take a Jello shot.
All right. Well, I was going to say we haven't walked and talked on this show since the NFL draft back in Vegas, and that was a little over a year ago. So here we go. We'll try anything. All right. While you're walking, Zach, let's talk about tonight's matchup. Obviously, LSU is a underdog for the first time in quite a while. Actually, I don't remember the last time LSU was an underdog. Yeah. They are an underdog tonight, and they do not have Paul Skeens on the mound. He is resting. Ty Floyd is ready to go. And Tigers hoping they can get at least 5 out of him. Be nice if they could get 6.
Yeah, I mean, look. I think Ty Floyd is 11-0. He's obviously capable. They have to hit the ball. I mean, Ty Floyd's not going to be Paul Skeens. He's not going to shut Wake Forest out for 7 1/3 innings or whatever it was. You're going to have to hit. Wake Forest started their ace on Saturday as well, so he's out. The difference between these teams is that Wake Forest pitching staff's a little deeper. I don't have my notes in front of me, so I'm going to blank on his name, but Wake Forest has a sophomore starter going today who has like 130 strikeouts in 90 innings. He's got a 2.80 ERA. I mean, he's the real deal too. And LSU's going to have to hit. They have the best lineup in the country, and that's where they're going to win this game, which I think, Jim, this game, you can't discount Florida, but this is very close to a national semifinal anyway. I mean, whoever wins this game is going to be completely in the catbird seat.
There's no question about it. This game is huge. It is a major deal. This is the most, obviously you want to win the first one, but really this one is just as important because if you win this game, you get a little break, and then you allow, the loser of this game has to battle with, I'm guessing, Tennessee at this point, to stay alive. So then not only do you have to stay alive, if you win the next one, then you got to win. Then you got to win 2 just to get to the championship round. So it's a tough road for whoever loses this game tonight.
I got a couple of Stanford fans thinking the camera was pointing the other way. trying to mug for the camera, and I'm going, guys, it's facing me. So anyway, I had to stop there for a second. So yeah, we're headed actually toward the fan fest here, and then Rocco's is across the street, so we're going to head over there in just a second. Lots of LSU fans, of course, and you mentioned it, Jim. I think LSU, the only other games I can think of, and I was not able to confirm this because college baseball, it's not like college football or the NFL or professional sports where there's a record of all these betting lines. I think the only other games this entire season in which LSU would have been an underdog or even close would have been at South Carolina. They got Arkansas at home. They did not play Florida in the regular season. And those are really – they played at Texas early in the year. They may have been close to an underdog.
Yeah, I think that was a fairly even game. I think if I remember correctly.
But this may be the first time that you actually can get plus money on LSU. So, I don't know. That's a new situation for them. And the question is, how do they respond to that?
And we'll get some commentary from probably some fans in just a minute. But Nick wants to know, he goes, how many parks have you been to in the last 3 weeks? He wants to be you when he grows up.
Yeah, this is my, I guess, 7th ballpark if you count, 5 major league ballparks. I went to a minor league park and now here in Omaha. So yeah, it's been a good month.
Yeah, I would say so. You think that's a good month? Yeah, I would say so.
Here's Rocco's. Let's see if we got any jello
all right,
shots.
Here's the world famous Rocco's. We are outside of Rocco's now. As you can see, it's pretty purple there. Even though LSU, I'm assuming is wearing gold tonight.
It's like being in Baton Rouge, only 10 degrees cooler. It is warm here, but it's pretty warm here, but I don't think it's Baton Rouge warm.
Yeah, well, it was 98 a little while ago. So
the jello shots are all inside. I don't know if I'm going to brave the inside here.
Well, we want to see. I mean, I think the public wants to see. I don't know what's going to happen to your cell service when you go in there, so you may have to duck in and duck out. But that's okay. So Zach Ewing is at Rocco's right now, and I want to see the tote board. I just want to see the live tote board is what I really want to see.
Let's see if there's a line to get in right now.
Maybe you can find one goofball. By the way, if you are watching this on Facebook or YouTube, you feel free to comment or ask a question of Zach, and maybe he'll have an answer for you. And then I can give you one answer. No, he's not going to do a jello shot on the air. He may get someone else to do a jello shot on the air, but he is not going to do it. See, I knew UBN was going to go ask you to do a shot.
Well, who says I'm not going to do a jello shot on the air?
Okay, well, go ahead then. You drank beer on the air.
The biggest problem is, I've got to get in here. There's a line to get in. It's, 4:10 in the afternoon.
Why don't you tell them who you are, and then they'll let you in?
Oh, yeah. They Rocco's and Bayou bets, we go back a long way.
Hey, you never know.
As you can see, just I'm bumping into people. It's chaos in there.
Well, how fast is the line? We want to see if we can get in there or not.
It's moving. It's moving. See.
UBN has a real problem, by the way, with football jerseys. He says, tell the guy who's wearing a football jersey to go home.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can afford to go to Omaha, he can probably afford to buy a baseball jersey, or at least a baseball T-shirt. Yeah. We got to show this one. Your boy Robert is saying, "Go Gators."
Oh man! All right.
Okay. Well. And anyway, let the show slow.
LSU's next. Yeah.
All right. As you're trying to get in, tell me what you see in there. Like, what has this been like? This experience been like?
It smells a lot like the bars I frequented in college in here. I'm just going to turn this camera around because I might not get a whole lot further than this.
Yeah, because you're starting to slow down. You're Your video is definitely starting to slow down, but you can see inside. Zach is inside of Rocco's. In case you're just joining us, or you've been in and out, Zach is inside of world famous Rocco's, and that's why his video is a little slow, because his cell service is probably slowed down inside of Rocco's a little bit. I'm gonna try to see if we can get a shot of the tote board, which says that LSU is kicking everybody's arse in Jello shots. But we all knew this already.
Just the top of the board up there, yeah.
Okay. Well, we can kind of see right now is people, but that's okay. You probably go back outside. It's probably so we can at least have a real show for at least the next 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's some empty Jello shots. You know, if that excites anybody, probably not. No. Well, all right. Let's go back. Let's talk about.
That's the big question.
Let's talk about baseball again. Let's get back to this baseball thing. We got a real important game now. Look,
okay. I'm just gonna say this.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Say it. Yes.
That place is breaking fire code. There's no question about it. I mean, I couldn't even move in there.
All right, you turning into me, okay? You can't turn into the old guy. Get off my lawn, dude. All right.
No, I approve of it. I approve of breaking fire code in this instance, but I just hope there's no fire. I mean, they sell pizza in there too. They better be careful.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about baseball again, and real quick, just we talked about the importance of this game. Ty Floyd going in the hill. Don't you think he's got to go at least 5 or 6 innings?
You would think so. My guess is they're going to back him up again with Riley Cooper, who finished the game on Saturday night. And so if you can get him 6, could you go Cooper 3 and get yourself to the finish line? And then you get a day off and you figure out Wednesday on Wednesday. Now, the problem is, if Floyd runs into trouble early and you fall behind, you're going to have to play again tomorrow night. And Tennessee's a tough team. I mean, they started the year at number 2 in the country. This is not – you could be facing elimination real fast if that happens. So you're right, Floyd's got to stick around.
Well, I mean, and the problem is Riley Cooper threw a bunch of pitches the other night. So is it him? If you have to go to Thatcher Hurd, how does that affect your next game? If you throw Thatcher Hurd and then you have to play again right away because you lose, you're in a world of hurt. This goes to show it goes to reiterate the importance of winning this game tonight. I mean, you win this game tonight, then you're in a position to where you only need to go 1-1 to get to the final round.
Oh, it's a huge difference. I mean, the difference between just needing to go 1-1 versus needing to go 3-0. I mean, it's 1 win in 2 tries or 3 wins in 3 tries. So This is huge. It looks like that game just ended because people are streaming out of the stadium now. So yeah, Tennessee and Stanford must have just ended. And that means, by the way, that Stanford will soon be on this rack. You can get your Virginia stuff for 50% off. So yeah, Stanford will be on that rack here in a minute because I think they've gone bye-bye.
So is that what happens once they're knocked out? They give you a break on the scores. I mean on the merchandise.
Guess. Yeah, the merch goes 50% off, which I don't know how much LSU merchandise will be left if and when they were to get eliminated, but I'll bet you it'll sell out.
This says bottom of the night. Well, no, it's over now. 6-4. It's official. Tennessee wins 6-4. It is a final score. So Stanford has been eliminated. Stanford and Virginia are out of the College World Series, which means the winner of this game will get to rest, while the loser will have to hurry up and play Tennessee again. I think tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow night. So
tomorrow night.
I think all the good academic schools are bowing out and leaving the Jello shots to the rest of us.
No. I think that's whether LSU. LSU could lose 2 in a row. They're still going to win the Jello Shot Channel, but that's not what people want to talk about or hear. One thing I'm interested in is, when do you think Paul? I've been asked this a bunch, and I don't really know the answer on this. When do you think Paul Skeens pitches again? Does he pitch in a must-win game? If LSU were to say lose tonight, now obviously he can't. I don't think you can turn around and pitch tomorrow. You're talking about Sunday, Monday. That's only, So when do you think he's the earliest he would be available?
I mean, I think Wednesday. 3 days rest. He did throw a lot of pitches. He's not used to that. I think more likely if LSU were to win tonight, then lose Wednesday, then you have an elimination game Thursday, and that seems like that'd be 4 days rest. He's used to 5 or 6,
Yeah.
but I would think on 4 days rest he could probably pull that off. Again though, if you're Jay Johnson, you got to think about the big picture. You want to win a national championship. Well, if you use him Wednesday or Thursday, then he may be out for the championship series unless it goes to game 3. So do you want to lose him for the championship series? I mean, that's the other thing you've got to ask yourself.
Well, and if you talk about the other side, I've said this from the get-go. I mean, not only is Florida in the catbird seat, I hate to pump any smoke and get some comments rolling around up there, but I mean, not only is Florida in the catbird seat, I said from the beginning I thought Florida and LSU were the best teams, and I really thought Florida was the better of them all because Florida's the only team that I've bet on. So I mean, I'm sticking with that. But from the beginning, Zach, they were in the better bracket. I mean, they were in the easier bracket. There's no question. And then they catch a break by 100%. playing Oral Roberts in their second game.
Yeah, and I mean, how much did this College World Series change the first day when you go from Virginia leading Florida in the 9th inning? They had a pitcher warmed up and didn't use him. So who knows whether Florida would have rallied anyway, but Florida rallies in the 9th inning. And then in the earlier game, I mean, that bracket could have been completely flipped. We could have had TCU Virginia as the winner's bracket game. Florida would be facing elimination in the long road back. But that 9th inning rally that Florida pulled off just changed everything. I mean, and all of a sudden now, if you look in the futures markets, Florida is the national championship favorite as of this moment. Now, the winner of tonight's game will become that favorite, I think. But as of right now, the winner of that game is the favorite. I'm going to see if I can't get into the stadium here. I'm going against the crowd. But if they let me in with my media pass, I might be able to go down to the field here.
Okay, well, if they do, that's great. We'll end the show that way, but we're not going to stay on much longer here. I do want to talk about it as far as Paul Skeens go. We had a poll last week, and we never did show the results on Thursday. So we have the results for you today. It's still just as timely as it was then. We asked the question, who was more important to this LSU team? Was it Dylan Cruz or was it Paul Skeens? And the results say 61.3% say Dylan Cruz, 38.7% say Paul Skeens. If LSU were to lose tonight, I got a feeling that question may change a little. I mean, that answer may change a little bit, but I too am on the same boat. I think that Dylan Cruz is more important to this team. You know, you think about what did he get on base 5 times in game 1? So he obviously was just as important to this team as Paul Skeens, getting on base, setting the table, and the fact that he plays every day, and he made a great play, I thought, in center field. I mean, he is just key to this team as much as Paul Skeens is.
Yeah, I mean, he is. And tonight, I mean, the answer to that question is on Saturday night, Paul Skeens was. Every other night is Dylan Cruz. And so they're going to need him to get on base. And like I said, you talk about Ty Floyd, but the key to this game for LSU is going to be the offense. There's no question about it. And I am coming out to the field here.
Well, we have a comment as you're walking. El Ray says the results are wrong. Skeens is a once in a generation. Let me tell you something, El Ray. I understand that you're a Florida guy and that you're just now getting used to your team being good. They've been good for about a decade now. That's all great. But LSU has had more than one Paul Skeens before. I'm just saying they've had pitchers like Paul Skeens before. So I think to say he's a once in a generation type of pitcher is a little overboard, going a little bit strong there. Just saying.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, a number one pitcher can change everything because it pushes everyone else down.
It didn't when Ben McDonald was around, but I don't want to say it too loud because he might hear you.
He's probably upstairs at this point.
Yeah, okay.
So Stanford and Tennessee still on the field. The ground crew's out here. I saw some LSU staff in the tunnel. I assume the players are all back in the clubhouse, but they'll wait for Tennessee to vacate this dugout. LSU will be the road team tonight, by the way. They'll be here in the first base dugout. So It's a big game. I mean, this is the biggest game LSU baseball's played since 2017. No doubt about it. 6 years in the waiting.
Jerry is with us. He's a little late, but he's here. He says he hopes our weekend was good. Well, I guarantee you Zach's weekend was good. He's in Omaha. Although you did have to celebrate Father's Day away from your kids, so that was one downfall.
And I was on a plane on Friday night until about 1 a.m. So that, you make some sacrifices. But
but that was kind of a party plane, though, right?
Standing here in this moment, I tell you what, the one from New Orleans to Denver was a very worried plane because the connection was only 15 minutes to Omaha. And I was talking to a couple of students, and I said, look, if we got to get there in time for LSU's game, we'll rent a 15-passenger van and switch off driving all night. There's 16 of us on the plane. A couple people probably won't be interested in doing that. The rest of us will take that van across Colorado and Kansas and Nebraska. We'll get there.
All right, Craig's got a question. He asked, what do we think Tennessee's chances are of making a comeback and facing LSU again? And then he says, slim. I'll start. I think if you play Tennessee again, it's bad news because that means that you probably lost this game. You don't want to play Tennessee again. I don't think Tennessee is going to make a run and go. I just think that LSU and Wake Forest are both better than Tennessee.
I think the winner of this game tonight is going to the championship series. And now Wake Forest may have a chance to fight back and face LSU again if they were to lose tonight. LSU doesn't have the pitching depth for that. I think if they lose tonight, maybe they beat Tennessee, maybe they don't. But I think that they are in a rough spot as far as making the championship series if they were to lose tonight.
El Rey asked, the ballpark is played big. How is the wind? How is the ball going to carry tonight?
It's still blowing in. This afternoon it was blowing in, so let's see if we can look at that.
We can't quite see that, so you're going to have to tell us.
Flags are blowing in toward left field, so anything out toward left is not going to carry well unless that wind changes.
What's that? Is that Tennessee getting happy as they go off the?
Yeah, we got some Tennessee fans cheering the team coming back to the dugout here.
Okay.
Tennessee's hanging around. I mean, they were down 4-0 in this game.
Yeah.
They have competitive at bats, and I agree with you. I think LSU does not want to face Tennessee again.
I'm not taking anything away from Tennessee because I think they are a really good team. But I said in the beginning of this thing that I thought that Stanford was probably the weakest team in the whole field. And I really believe that. So you could say maybe Oral Roberts, but the way that Oral Roberts has been playing, you can't take anything away from them. And then the way they played Florida last night goes to prove. So, I mean,
Yeah. And hey, Stanford was competitive. I mean,
I'm not saying they're a bad team. I'm just saying of the 8 teams in there, I think all 8 teams are fantastic, really.
One thing that you keep hearing around Omaha this weekend is how strong this field is. And Oral Roberts is here. Oral Roberts is not your typical number 4 team. They've got draft prospects in that team.
Yeah.
That's a good team. So when you look at either that team or Stanford, which is the number 8 national seed, as the weakest team in the field, you've got a loaded College World Series. And I think the people in Omaha are used to having a couple of Cinderella stories, maybe even 3 or 4, not having, look, Wake Forest is number 1. LSU is number 1 to start the year. Tennessee was number 2 to start the year. Florida's number 2 now. All of them were here. Virginia was number 7. They're already out. Like, this is as loaded of a field as you could get. And so you need to stay in that winner's bracket. It's not impossible, but it's difficult to fight from the other side.
Jim Derry here in Mandeville, Louisiana. Zach Ewing is in Omaha, Nebraska. I'd rather be where Zach is, not only because it's where the College World Series is, but because I'm about to fry up into another. I mean, look, I know as big as I am, I think I probably weigh like 4 pounds now because I've been melted away by this ridiculous sun. I can't even get to the car. So I hope you're enjoying Omaha. I am. It's ridiculous.
By the way, people worried about rain delays. There is not a single cloud in the sky. It is just brilliant out here. It's warm. And left field, by the way, left field's going to be a problem spot for both teams. We saw Drew Pearson struggle with that a little, or Josh Pearson.
I would say Drew Pearson. He's playing. Wow, he's a little old. He ran out of eligibility.
Josh Pearson struggled with that the other night. For the first 3 or 4 innings of this game, left field's going to be a real problem because, as you can tell, and maybe you can't tell, but you're staring straight into the sun, and it comes through the gaps in the stadium. I mean, and then the shadows come in. Left field's a difficult place to play in this park at that 6 o'clock hour. So we'll see if that comes into effect. The other thing I want to do real quick, Jim, is give a shout out to the people over at Harrah's Council Bluffs, which is in Iowa, just a couple miles away from here, across the river, across the state line. Great place to stay. That's where I'm staying. Little 5-minute drive to the ballpark. You're kind of away from all the craziness, but you're close enough. It was like a $7 Uber. I mean, it's absolutely perfect. And they do have room availability. So if LSU were to win tonight, people want to think about coming out for next week. And then you get the bonus. You can bet on sports over there in Iowa. And they have Caesar Sportsbook kiosks there at Harrah's Council Bluffs. So I do want to give a shout out to them.
Well, there you go. If you're thinking about going, if LSU wins tonight and they win one more, they're in the big series with most likely Florida. And you can make your way. Still got plenty of time to go if you want to go. It's actually, I would imagine, a lot easier to go because there's just 2 teams left, or 4 teams left.
Teams, and
if it's this weekend,
if the flights are a problem, I mean, theoretically you have possibly Thursday and Friday you could drive up. So it's a doable trip. I mean, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's doable. It's not that expensive. Harrah's has good rates. I would check that out over on the Iowa side.
Well, thank you, Jerry Abear, for enjoying the show, and we couldn't do this without you. So we thank you for joining us. We'll be back doing this again on Thursday. In fact, Thursday morning, Datitude this week, Datitude podcast will be on Thursday morning instead of Friday morning because of some scheduling issues. Jeff Duncan is going to be my guest. This could be the last Attitude for about 3 to 4 weeks. So I'm trying to get one more in. We're trying to get Paul Maneri on the show. If LSU gets back before my vacation, Coach Maneri gets back before my vacation starts, we will have Coach Maneri on the show. If not, we'll have to get him on at another time. But Zach and I will be back also on Thursday, as he will be still live in Omaha on Thursday. Well, we think anyway.
Probably.
Yeah. We hope. That's where Zach will be when we chat on Thursday. All right, before we get to a quick rant, I want to wrap up the show. But Zach, we're going to get our predictions. I'm going to start with you first. You're live there. LSU-Wake Forest, it's number 5 against number 1. But really, you could throw the seedings out the window. It doesn't make a bit of difference tonight.
Yeah, I think I'll be the bad guy. I'm going to pick Wake Forest. I think the pitching is a little bit deeper. They have that feeling about them. Never say die. I mean, they've won a bunch of games. The lineup is so deep. The lineup is just I'll be the bad guy and pick Wake Forest. Somebody said to me, hey, it doesn't matter if LSU's an underdog or not. Have you seen the team play lately? Well, have you seen Wake Forest play lately? I mean, they're just killing teams. So I'll go with Wake and be the villain.
I have seen Wake Forest play, and I don't think Wake Forest has seen anything like what they're going to face tonight. I don't understand this spread at all. I mean, I always talk about value bets and all that. So not only do I think LSU is going to win, but I think this is one of the value bets of the tournament, LSU plus 120. Again, I've only seen a hand-picked Wake Forest stuff throughout the Super Regional and then the first College World Series game. I get that they have deep pitching, but deep pitching compared to what? And against whom? This is the SEC. There's a reason why the SEC has only lost 1 game in this entire tournament so far, and it was against another SEC team. I think LSU is the best team. LSU or Florida is the best team in the tournament. I said it in the beginning. It's LSU against Florida. I still believe that. Someone's going to have to prove me differently. So I'm taking the Tigers. Give me the plus 120. We'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. So. And I'm not saying it just – you guys know. I'm not saying it to be a homer. I'm saying it because it's what I really think, and that's what I really think is going to happen. All right, let's get to our rants real quick. I'm going to start because mine is probably less important than yours. I don't know, but I'm going to make it very quick, and it's going to be about a 30-second rant. If you haven't noticed, and as Bob Uecker used to say, judging by the attendance, you haven't. The New Orleans Breakers are in the USFL playoffs. Not only are they in the playoffs, they are in the South Division Championship with a chance 1 win away from the USFL Championship game. I know that people laugh at spring football and say blah, 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 and Zach Ewing's definitely one of those people. But I'm telling you, it is good football. This team is better than it was last year, and they have a legitimate chance to win this game. It's worth watching next Sunday night on Fox. The New Orleans Breakers taking on the Birmingham Stallions for the right to go to the USFL Championship, where the winner of this game will be an overwhelming favorite against the team from the North. because that'll be Pittsburgh against Michigan. Two probable worst teams in the USFL are playing in the championship on the other side. So it's a little weird, but again, probably be about a 9 or 10 point favorite is my guess in the championship game. If the Breakers can get past their nemesis, the Birmingham Stallions. We'll talk more about that later on in the week.
The best news for the Breakers, they get to play at home in Birmingham.
That is true. But
wait a minute. I wasn't supposed to say that, was I?
You can make fun of them all you want, pal. It's better than the crap you like. Go ahead.
Speaking of the crap I like, if for those who didn't notice, and judging by the TV ratings, you probably did, the USA waxed Mexico and Canada in soccer, men's soccer we're talking about. Women have the World Cup later this summer, but this was the CONCACAF Nations League, and it was as good as the USA men have looked, really, I want to say since 2009 when they reached the finals of the Confederations Cup. Just bullied both Mexico and Canada, won by a total of 5 goals. Christian Pulisic was a player of the tournament. Their new guy, Ricardo Balogun, looked great. They attacked, they held possession. It was not counterpunch soccer. It was brilliant stuff. And then they announced in between the two games that they were bringing back Greg Berhalter as the coach, the guy who's kind of led them with this boring counterpunch style through the last World Cup. He was under investigation for a domestic violence incident that happened more than 30 years ago. It was kind of a raw deal for him, I thought. But at the same time, it was an excuse to get rid of a coach who, on merits, you weren't going to fire, but looked okay. And the USA chose not to do it. So I question that, but that's a story for another day. Today's all about baseball.
Today's about baseball. And before we wrap it up, we'll show you one last time the lines for tonight. Game is scheduled to start at 6 o'clock. No reason why they can't start at 6 now. Tennessee has defeated Stanford 6-4. Stanford is eliminated along with Virginia. So Tennessee will be awaiting the loser of this game. They'll play tomorrow night. I believe it's also at 6 o'clock. So in other words, LSU does not want to play tomorrow. If you're a Tigers fan, you hope you don't have to watch you get to watch your Tigers tomorrow. Craig says he appreciates us. He'll be watching from work tonight. I'll probably be watching from poker. And before we go off, show us your surroundings. I got to give the NCAA credit. Man, they put y'all right down on the action. I did not expect that at all, that you'd be right there next to the field.
Well, yeah, only in between games. Once the game starts, I have to go back up to the press box.
Okay.
Because I saw what I wanted to do. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me figure this out here.
Wait, hold on. I got a real quick question before I forget. Benjamin Howe has a really good question. Why was U.S. Soccer only available in Spanish to most viewers?
The English feed was on Paramount Plus. CBS went to try. Same thing as.
In other words, they're making you pay to watch. They're making you pay to watch soccer.
But if you were a soccer fan, you likely had Paramount Plus anyway because they carry the Champions League. So I had it already. I imagine most soccer fans did. But that was the story. It's on Paramount Plus. Okay. Well, you got some live shots the other day around the LSU dugout. How did you get them if you weren't supposed to be around there?
That
was an ask for forgiveness and not permission sort of thing.
Gotcha.
There was a door that said I could go there right next to a door that said I couldn't. And so I went in the door that said I could, and they both led to the same place. And I was down there for a good hour before anybody told me I wasn't really supposed to be. So that's how that went. But
the funny thing is you were standing right next to a cop.
And he didn't seem to know the difference. So I had a field pass, and I was down there. And actually, the part you can get down is next to the visitors' dugout, which, as you can see, LSU filing into that visitors' dugout right now. So it's almost go time. They're about to go start warming up, and we'll be going at 6.
Well, let's see if we can. What kind of cojones do you have? You want to walk up to one of them and talk and ask them a question? It's as much as about cojones. I would rather not lose my credential now and not be able to go live Thursday, which is probably what would happen in that case. We'll let the Tigers. Well, and then if LSU loses, Jim, do I get blamed for a lack of focus and all that? If I go talk to them before the game? There's no question. I would.
I can't. I'm not going to put myself at that kind of risk.
But I mean, you picked them to lose. I think you should go over there and tell them you picked them to lose.
I'll just tell them Vegas picked them to lose. They're underdogs. Vegas knows, right?
Well, I mean, we asked for predictions, and you predicted them to lose. So I think you should tell them.
Ty Floyd going out to the bullpen there with the rest of the crew.
Okay.
So we're about to get going here.
All right. Well, enjoy your time in Omaha. We'll do this again on Thursday. And enjoy the weather. I'm really jealous. Go have a Jello shot for me after. Tell them you're buying it for Oral Roberts. What the hell?
Yeah, I may just do Virginia. They're down at like 500 or something, and there's nobody else here. So maybe I'll just support the underdogs. Yeah.
Poor Virginia.
No, come on, listen. I'm here because of LSU. I'm gonna go ahead and buy the purple and gold Jello shot.
By the way, the last thing, if I had a second rant, I would talk about how awful those Virginia hats are. Looks something like something you'd buy at a truck stop.
Yeah, I mean that's what's in right now. It's popular.
Pretty bad. All right, well, go Tigers, and we will talk to you on Thursday. And Zach, again, live from Omaha all week long. Make sure you follow him at, what is it, Z Ewing? Is that what it is?
At Z Ewing on Twitter, and follow Bet.Nola on Instagram and TikTok as well.
And he will have live social media posts all throughout the game. He'll have them everywhere. And then he'll also be posting from Omaha on Bet.Nola.com, as will I, because this is a busy week for us here as we're just about to turn that clock. When this is over, we're turning our attention to football, baby. And I'm not talking about the New Orleans Breakers. I'm talking about real football. That's coming up.
No, you're not.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We will see you on Thursday, both Datitude in the morning on all these same social media channels with Jeff Duncan, and then back live with Zach Ewing from Omaha. We hope Thursday afternoon. We'll talk to you then, everybody. Have a great week and enjoy the game.